Hi, I hope that you are well. Thank you so much for joining me here today where we're going to explore. But we're going to change things up and do them a little differently today. So what are my plans for us? Come on over and I'll show you. So here are some of the things we're going to use. I have an assortment of different types of fruit, paper, pen, ruler. I've got a knife so I can cut the fruit. Be careful if you do this. And I've got an assortment of plates. And because this might get messy, I've got some vinyl gloves. And because I've tried to do this for multiple days and it's never come together for me, even though I don't have ideal conditions today, I'm going to get this going. And so I'll ask you to bear with me. I'm not using my normal tripod today, so it's going to be kind of a trial and error thing. So we have a twofold purpose here today. We're going to get some practice categorizing things based on similarities, and we're going to use the fruit to do that. And afterwards we'll look at how botanists, the scientists who study plants, categorize some of the fruit that I'm using. So our point today isn't to get it right or duplicate the accepted classifications. We're just going to get a handle on possible ways that things could be classified. And I'm going to share how I classify my fruit and the system I use and the things I use. You might go about this in a completely different way, which is good. That's exactly what we want here. We want to realize that different people or groups of people might classify things in a different way. And so, because of this, I encourage you to get some fruit, do some classifying of your own, and don't try to duplicate or, like I said, get it right. Just try to get a feel for classifying and the things that you feel are important and what you feel is more important than other characteristics. So to help me, I'm going to make a sheet for my classifications. And across the top of the sheet, I'm going to write some characterizations, and then down the side, I'll write some of the fruit. So some of the possible characteristics that I've thought of are things like the size of the fruit, the shape of the fruit, the type of skin, color of the fruit, the type of flesh inside, color of the flesh inside, and the type of seeds. So I wrote all those things across the top of my page. And as I take each fruit, I'm going to write the fruit and then fill it out for each one. So let's get started. All right, so I'm not going to have you watch every fruit that I do, but let's just get started seeing a couple of these. So let's grab the orange. And I'm going to write orange on my page. And I'm going to measure it. And because it's going to be a little hard to measure, you can figure out how you want to do this. I'm just going to set it on top of the ruler, kind of line up this end so it's above the 0 centimeter line, and kind of draw an imaginary line down there so it looks like the orange is about 7.5 centimeters. And it's round. The skin it's rough, dimpled, and thick. So if we cut open the orange, and I'm going to go this way. You can see that that is a thick skin. Inside it's orange, and normally I wouldn't look at colors so much, but like the lemon's going to be almost the same thing as an orange, but it's going to be a different color. So let's take a look at the flesh, and there's something that I've always been interested in oranges and most citrus fruit. You can see individual, I want to call them cells, but like packets of fruit juice, kind of. I do often describe oranges as like just little individual packets of juice that are kind of assembled together. Like you could pick all those apart and you'd have little individual packets of juice. So I'm going to call the flesh segmented and juicy. And the color of the flesh is also orange. I don't see any seeds in here, so this one doesn't have any. And because we're being scientific here, I'm not going to fill it in. I don't have that data before me, so I'm not going to create data based on experience in the past. I am just going to record the data that I'm observing. So now I'm going to look at the lemon. And lemons, oh, I love the scent of lemons. This lemon is actually longer than the orange. It's 8 centimeters. And it's not as round as the oranges, so I'm going to call it elongated or oval. The type of skin, again, is rough, dimpled, and thick. And the color is yellow. So in the lemon, you can actually see the seeds. So there are multiple seeds. They are oval, they're white, they're small. Again, the flesh is juicy and segmented. The color of the flesh is yellow. I want to get one of these seeds out of here so I can take a look at it. So it's small, it's hard, and it has a thin skin. I'm going to go through and record more results for some of the other fruit, and then we'll be back. So for the pear, it's 10 centimeters. It's oval, elongated, yellow skin, white flesh. And for lack of a better term, I called the flesh fleshy or meaty because there's a lot of substance to it. So this one I want to show you because I'm not sure how many of you have seen one before. This is a persimmon. There's its leaf up on top, and it's very orange. The shape is round, but it's flattened circle shape, not a full circle shape. And the flesh, again, is, we're going to call it meaty. The color of the flesh is also orange. I don't really see any seeds in there. So it does have it has variations in color in there. I'm going to cut into the mango. Kind of know what to expect here. And there is an elongated seed there. So it's a flat, elongated seed. Let me clear that away. All right, so let's take a look at some of the observations that I made. So we've got the orange and lemon, which were very similar, and the lime as well. They both had those little packets of juice in their flesh, and they're segmented. So I would classify those all as a similar type. So the orange, the lemon, and the lime into one classification. The pear and the apple, very similar. So they both had the thin skin. They were, the flesh was meaty. There were multiple seeds, and they were small, and they were hard, but they were thin-skinned. So I also had the persimmon and the mango. The mango had one big seed in it, so I'm going to classify that by itself. It very much reminded me of like a nectarine or a peach with the one hard stone seed in the center and the fleshy meat around it. And what else did we have? The persimmon. I guess I would put that in a class by itself because it didn't have the hard stone. So to me, basing the mango classification on the seed type, because it did have the large seed and that's very characteristic of a mango. The orange, the lemon, and the lime, I would base my classification on the skin type and the flesh type and the seed type. The pear and the apple, similar skin, similar flesh, similar seed types. So there we go, and that is my classification system. Now, botanists are scientists who study plants all the time. And they have developed a classification system for plants and types of fruit. When they classified fruit, they looked at some of the same characteristics that we looked at, but they also looked at more technical things that we didn't see here, like how the fruit develops and how it is created. So to a botanist, a fruit is defined as the seed-bearing structure of flowering plants that is formed from the ovary after flowering. So by this definition, some of the things that we who look at food from an eating it perspective would not consider fruit, a botanist does consider fruit. So a botanist would classify nuts or milkweed capsules or even tomatoes and sweet peppers as fruit. How would the botanist classify some of the fruit we looked at today? So there's stone fruit or drupes, and that would be the mango. It has a hard stone or pit. Palm are simple fruits derived from the ovary wall of a flower, so my apple and my pear would be a palm. Berries are simple fleshy fruit that come from a single ovary. And to a botanist, this would include things like my citrus fruits, so the oranges, the lime, the lemon. And many of the fruit that we in everyday life call berries aren't berries at all to a botanist. So does this mean that we should all start using the botanically correct labels for our fruit? Probably not. Terminology that applies to a specific field like botany or electrical engineering or even librarianism is specific so that people in that field have an easier time communicating. Over time, people in specific fields of work or study have agreed on specific meanings for technical terms. It's technical terminology, and every job or field of study has it. Most of society doesn't need to use that terminology in everyday life. And it could make our communications more difficult if we attempted to use that terminology in everyday life. So I guess we are about finished here. And I hope that you enjoyed classifying and taking a look at fruit. I hope that you try classification, whether fruit or anything else that you could think of, for yourself. I'll be back soon with another book video and a create video. Until then, I hope that you continue to explore your world and use your creativity to improve it. I'm going to go make some fruit salad now. And thank you.